For decades, humanity has fought a war it never knew existed, not against invaders or monsters, but against space itself. Above the blue calm of our world, hidden from the public eye, governments have quietly intercepted thousands of asteroids on collision courses with Earth. Each near miss erased from record, every explosion dismissed as cosmic dust. It was a silent war, waged in shadows, guarded by scientists and generals who carried the weight of extinction on their shoulders. They called it Project Shield, a global defense network so secret, even world leaders were told only fragments of the truth. Billions were spent building orbital weapons and kinetic interceptors, all to keep humanity safe from the universe's indifference. But secrets, like gravity, can only be resisted for so long. When leaked documents revealed evidence of hidden missions and erased disasters, the illusion of safety shattered overnight. Protests filled the streets, news channels screamed betrayal, and trust in every space agency crumbled. For the first time, the public realized that the stars above weren't just symbols of wonder. They were battlefields. And as the truth unraveled, one fact became clear. The war was never over. It was only waiting for the next threat to appear. And soon that threat would have a name. Aten 9. In 2029, a young astronomer named Dr. Leila Cross made a discovery that would shake the world. A massive asteroid hurtling through space, predicted to skim perilously close to Earth. Official channels assured the public it was harmless, a routine cosmic visitor that posed no danger. But off-record transmissions told a different story. Radar systems detected subtle, inexplicable movements, as if the rock were adjusting its own path, defying the cold certainties of physics. Scientists exchanged worried glances, and hidden calculations hinted at something unprecedented. Aten 9 was no ordinary asteroid. Its approach was precise, deliberate, and eerily intelligent. Behind closed doors, the Planetary Defense Coordination Office began racing against time, analyzing trajectories and testing simulations. While the world carried on in ignorance, Leila felt a growing dread. The universe, once distant and silent, had begun to whisper threats too close for comfort, and humanity's fragile illusion of safety was about to be shattered. The clock ticked faster as global leaders authorized humanity's first offensive against a cosmic threat, the Hera-X kinetic impactor. It was a weapon designed to nudge the asteroid off course, a test of human ingenuity against the raw force of the universe. In underground control rooms, engineers monitored every calculation, every launch sequence, but tension thickened the air. Classified data hinted that someone, somewhere, might be feeding false orbital coordinates into the mission. Nations argued and suspected one another, alliances fraying under the weight of panic. The impactor prepared to launch, representing humanity's best hope, yet uncertainty gnawed at even the most confident scientists. Every second mattered. Every minor miscalculation could spell disaster. As the countdown began, the fragile veneer of global cooperation threatened to crack, revealing not only the danger in the sky, but the human flaws on the ground. The war against the cosmos was no longer silent. It had become urgent, high stakes, and utterly unpredictable. As the Hera-X kinetic impactor neared its target, disaster struck. Systems that should have been flawless faltered, alarms screaming in the sterile quiet of control rooms. Sabotage, they realized, had infiltrated the mission. Someone had deliberately tampered with the controls. Suspicion spread like wildfire as the scientists and military officers scrambled to identify the mole hidden within the Planetary Defense Coordination Office. Every piece of data, every transmission was scrutinized, and one terrifying possibility emerged. A powerful private space conglomerate might be manipulating the asteroid for its own secretive ends. But why would anyone want an asteroid to collide with Earth? The thought alone sent chills down spines. Humanity's lifeline had been breached from within, and the war against the universe had suddenly become a war against itself. Spectral scans revealed a shocking truth. Aten 9 was not a single monolithic rock, but a cluster of fragments orbiting a dark, magnetic core. Even more unsettling, the asteroid emitted faint radio pulses, rhythmic and deliberate, almost like a message. Scientists could not tell whether it was a natural phenomenon or the product of engineering far beyond anything humanity had ever attempted. The implications were staggering. Aten 9 was alive in a way no asteroid should be, a shapeshifter of rock and energy that defied known physics. As data streamed in, the dread in control rooms deepened. The universe was no longer a predictable void. The threat had taken form, and what humanity had thought was a solitary stone from the sky was in truth a complex, almost intelligent swarm, hiding secrets that could unravel the very foundations of human understanding. As aten 9 drew closer, the asteroid's behavior grew increasingly unpredictable. The fragments began to multiply, splitting into hundreds of smaller bodies that danced and spun with an eerie precision. Magnetic interference surged across Earth, knocking satellites offline, crippling communications, and throwing navigation systems into chaos. Nations panicked, accusing each other of weaponizing the sky, while global infrastructure teetered on the brink of collapse. Amid the mounting confusion, Dr. Leila Cross uncovered a chilling detail. The asteroid's core was composed of a rare, unnatural element, one previously used only in secret Earth experiments. The realization struck like a thunderclap. This was no ordinary cosmic visitor. Humanity's most feared enemy had a traceable signature, a link to their own hidden ambitions and mistakes. What had been a battle against the heavens was rapidly becoming a reckoning with their own past. The revelation shattered any lingering sense of security. Aten 9 was not merely a celestial hazard, it was a byproduct of human experimentation gone wrong, a fragment of a failed project launched decades ago into deep space. The very weapon designed to protect Earth may have inadvertently sown the seeds of its doom. Yet the full truth remained buried under layers of classified clearance, guarded jealously by those who had once claimed to protect the planet. Investigators who dug too deeply disappeared without explanation, leaving only whispers and fear in their wake. Dr. Cross understood the stakes. Humanity's survival was entangled with its own hubris, and the line between savior and destroyer had blurred beyond recognition. The asteroid was no longer just an external threat. It was a mirror reflecting the consequences of every secret, every misstep, and every hidden ambition humanity had ever dared to pursue. With the clock ticking ever closer to catastrophe, Dr. Leila Cross proposed a desperate, unprecedented plan: to use Earth itself as a weapon. The idea was simple in theory, terrifying in execution. Manipulate the planet's atmosphere to create colossal pressure waves capable of vaporizing the incoming asteroid fragments. But the consequences were unthinkable. Entire weather systems could be thrown into chaos, seasons could collapse, crops fail, and civilizations risk extinction in the name of survival. Governments clashed in emergency councils, some seeing salvation, others deeming it suicidal. Military leaders argued over the logistics, while scientists worked frantically to model the impact, trying to predict the unpredictable. Dr. Cross, however, carried the weight of the moral decision alone. One miscalculation could turn her solution into an apocalypse. As the fragments drew nearer, glowing ominously in the void, humanity faced a stark choice: gamble everything to save the world, or do nothing and accept annihilation. Every second brought them closer to the edge, and every mind in the room felt the same unspoken truth. The line between heroism and catastrophe had never been thinner. Just as the atmospheric plan was set in motion, betrayal struck with devastating precision. The private space conglomerate, long suspected but never proven to be meddling, activated a secret orbital platform, hijacking the defense technology and turning it into a weapon aimed not at the asteroid, but at humanity itself. The CEO, smug and unrepentant, revealed a chilling ambition: to reshape the planet for a select elite, using the chaos as cover to claim power and resources while billions perished. Alliances shattered instantly. Nations that had united against a cosmic threat now found themselves fighting one another, scrambling to reclaim control. Dr. Cross and her team realized too late that survival depended not only on science, but on outwitting human greed and betrayal. The asteroid, once the enemy, became a backdrop to a far greater threat: the darkness of ambition and deception within humanity itself. Every calculated plan now carried the weight of human treachery, and the hope of saving the planet hung by a thread thinner than the orbiting fragments themselves. In the final hours, the weight of the world rested entirely on Dr. Leila Cross. Every calculation, every desperate experiment, every sleepless night had led to this singular moment, the moment when humanity's survival teetered on a razor's edge. Nine's fragments had multiplied into a relentless swarm, glowing like burning embers in the void, a silent army of rock and energy moving with eerie precision toward Earth. The atmospheric defense system, her last and riskiest gambit, required her to override every safety protocol to force the planet itself to become a weapon. As she keyed in the final sequence, alarms screamed and lights flickered, satellites faltered, communication lines crackled with static, and every human on the planet sensed that something monumental was unfolding, even if they didn't understand how or why. For a fleeting moment, time seemed to freeze, the vast sky above and the trembling earth below holding their collective breath. Then, with a blinding surge of light and energy, the fragments disintegrated, vaporizing in a cascade of fire that lit the atmosphere like a second sun. The Earth survived, but at a cost that no one could fully measure. Skies turned an ominous, permanent crimson, oceans shifted, and winds carried a new, unsettling heat across continents. Dr. Cross, exhausted and forever changed, gazed upward at a world that had been saved from immediate destruction, but would never again feel untouched or safe. Humanity had triumphed over the stars, yes, but only because it had confronted its own hubris, its own secrets, its own capacity for both creation and destruction. The asteroid was gone, but the true battle had been with themselves all along, and the echoes of that choice would resonate through generations, a haunting reminder that survival is never free, and that sometimes the price of saving the world is the innocence of believing it will ever be the same again.